evening and welcome. This is Whole and Beautiful. I am Angela Oliphant, your host, and I am glad that you all have joined me tonight again for another night of information, revelation, and change. It's going to be another phenomenal night. I always tell you that, and it's always great and it's always good just to be on here and to share with you tonight. We are in the month of December. I've missed like the first two Fridays of December. There's a lot going on in December because of the holidays, because of so many different parties and different things that's happening. I had things happening at work, had things happening with my church. So now I'm here and I'm live. This is not a recording. It is live, guys. And I am here tonight just to share with you just my heart, just some things that I've been thinking about. And I am excited that you are here to listen, that you are here to participate. Give me a thumbs up out there. If you're out there, let me know you're there. Say hello so that I know that you're listening. Tonight, I wanted to just reiterate that I will be doing my couples conversations. I'm taking a new take on that. So we're going to do some different things with that. I'm still doing my mentoring moments. Still want to talk to some men out there that are making a difference in the lives of other young men and other people's lives in general. I want to talk to some couples and I want to see, how do your marriage work? How do you do things within your own marriage that might help somebody else? Because you never know, some of the things that you do may help somebody else. So I want to be able to bring them that information, and so that they can get a revelation and have some change in their life. You may be the couple that they need to listen to or hear your story so that their lives can change. And it doesn't have to be like a rag to riches story. It can be something that you do on a daily basis. You could get along all the time. That's great. That's wonderful. People can learn from good. They can learn from bad. They can learn from the ugly. They can learn. So we want them to learn. I want to bring you powerful information that will change your life. That's what I want to do. I want to make sure that I'm giving you information that you can apply to your life, something that you can think about and maybe change because you heard the information, or something that you can go and research out even the more because you heard it right here on Whole and Beautiful. So you go and you search it out and you find out even more information that you can take and apply it to your life and start changing, because sometimes we don't want to change. We want things to remain the same. We want things to be like they have always been, and not all the time does that work. So tonight, I want you to I want you to comment, I want you to share this broadcast with somebody else. I want you to let somebody else know that Whole and Beautiful is on, and hey, Angela's there and she's live. So I want people to know that I'm here. I want to thank everyone that's been listening throughout the course of the year. You guys are amazing. You are indeed my whole and beautiful nation. You are simply amazing. I get my numbers in and I see how many people that this broadcast is reaching. And I sit back sometimes and I'm like, wow, is touching these many people, that these many people are actually tuning in. They're actually listening. They're actually being a part of the broadcast. And I applaud you and I thank you. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you chiming in, for those that chime in and that ask questions, that talk to me while I'm on the broadcast. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the feedback and the comments, because I love to see that you're out there. For those who sit and listen and you don't say a word, but you listen and you don't type in the comments or click the little hearts or whatever, I appreciate you too. But the very fact that you are tuning in and that you're listening means a lot to me. And I want you all to know that. I really appreciate all the listeners that I have out there, everybody that sits down and watches the video. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hearing. Thank you for all the countries that tune in. You tune in like not every single week that I see that you're out there, but I know that you're tuning in, and sometimes people go back and they see the replay, and I am so grateful that you all have decided to make whole and beautiful a part of your Friday, a part of your Saturday, whenever you're listening to this, whether it's morning, afternoon, whatever time, whether you're on there live with me on a Friday night at 7 p.m. I am so appreciative. You just don't know how much I appreciate you being out there and you listening. Because sometimes when we're sitting and we're talking and I'm just talking, it seems like I'm just talking to myself. And then I find out later on that so many people are listening and so many people are saying, good things about Whole and Beautiful. And I am grateful. I am thankful. I just thank God for the opportunity to be here on this broadcast. Thank God for people like Alan Chaffetz, who is like the producer, the behind the scenes guy that's working everything, that has his own station, that gave ALH Broadcasting an open door. And then she came to me and asked me, and I'm like, wow, for God to connect everything and put everything together, and for me to be able to sit here on this computer where I'm sitting now and be able to reach the world is an amazing thing. And I thank God for the opportunity, and I thank you all for listening and tuning in on Fridays or whenever you may tune in. Tonight, I just wanted to share some things with you because we're going into the Christmas season. We're already in the middle of it, guys. Next weekend, we're heading into Christmas Eve. Really, it seems like December just got here, and now we're already in the third week of December, getting ready to go into the fourth week of December, and then we're headed into a new year. Can you believe that? A whole new year. And this year seems like a blur sometimes because of everything that has gone on. It just seems like it happened so fast. And now we're at the end of the year. And I'm like, wow, oh my goodness. The year went by so quickly, so fast. But I am yet appreciative. I am yet thankful. I am yet glorifying and magnifying God because of what He has done and what He's going to do in the lives of the people that are tuning into this show, in my own life as being an individual, what God is doing in me. I am happy about it. And when I was thinking about what I wanted to share with you on tonight, I had so many different things, so many different topics, so many different things that was just running through my brain of what I could share with you, what would be an amazing thing to just reveal to you or to talk to you about or to get your comments about. And I was sitting and I was thinking about it. And I talked to my daughter about it, and I was like, I don't even really know what route I want to go, which way I want to go. And I'm just going to share some things with you tonight that are from my heart, but then some things that I have been thinking about, and some things that I had shared, like maybe like a couple of weeks ago, that I share with other people. So I hope that what I share with you on tonight is going to be beneficial for you. I really think that it'll cause you to think, and that's what I want to do, is to cause you to think, cause your mind to just start thinking about some things, and that it will bring about some growth in your life, because we can continue to grow no matter how old we are. We can continue to learn no matter how old we get. I always leave myself open to be able to be taught something. I can always be taught something. I've been looking at different people who are older. When I started out, I was like, oh, they were younger. They were in, their younger age or whatever. But I was learning so much from them. And then now I see those people as older, and I was like, wow, they had so much wisdom. They shared so many things with us. And I'm forever grateful to them too. But one thing that happened with me, that I was just looking at the Christmas season and started thinking about traditions and started thinking about what people do during this time. You have people who have their Christmas traditions, certain things that they do during this time, certain things that they love to do during this time. And it's like, it's just not Christmas if we don't do this, or it's just not Christmas if we don't have this meal, or we don't do these particular things. And they have those things that they do every single year. It's like clockwork. You can just time it. They're going to do this at this time. Now, one thing that I grew up with was that we would never put our Christmas tree up before Thanksgiving. We had to get through Thanksgiving first. So we would do Thanksgiving, and it would either be Thanksgiving night or the next day, the day after Thanksgiving, we would put the Christmas tree up. That is something that we just did. That is something that I continued to follow even after I left from home with my mom. So if you're out there and you're listening, what are some of the Christmas traditions that you all do? What are some of the things that you've done over the years that you continue to do throughout the course of, like, each year you just do it? I started a new tradition, and that is I meet with my grands during the month of December, usually early on in December, that first Saturday or that second Saturday in December. I meet with them. I have Yaya's Christmas party, and that's what we do. We do the Christmas party I do the Christmas party with them. I have them come. It's a Yaya's pajamas Christmas party. So they come in, they're in their pajamas. We have a good time. We'll watch some movies, or we will sing, or we will dance around, and I have food for them. And then when they are getting ready to leave, I have a stocking with some little goodies in it for them when they get ready to go. But I set them up some food. They eat, we talk, we laugh, we play games. I created the game Pin the Star on the Tree. I had made it out. I made it for an event that was at my church, actually. And I made it, and then I've been using it ever since, because I was like, oh, this will work good for the kids too. So I use it for the kids, and they love it. They get to put their blindfold on, and they get to pin the star and try to pin the star at the top of the tree. And I thank God for creativity. One year we made snowmen out of socks, like white socks and Christmas bulbs, not the breakable ones, the ones that don't break, but we stuck the bulbs down there, put rubber bands, made some little snowmen that year, and made them with little hats and scarves and stuff. So it's just to have fun with them every year. So that's a new tradition that I started. But in the midst of everything, when I was doing all of this and thinking about what can I share with you, I started thinking about believing. And sometimes during this time, you will see movies where people are talking about only believe, only believe. Good evening, Dana. Thank you for joining. Good evening, Victoria. Thank you for joining tonight. Also, I am so excited that both of you are here. Hey, Josie, how are you doing? I'm glad that y'all are here tonight, just talking about some things from my heart, but the different traditions that we do every year. I just was talking about my Christmas party, my Christmas pajama party that I do with my grands, which I started a couple of years ago. Yeah, this year was the third year that I'm doing it. Wow, I didn't realize that. But it's the third year that I did it. The first year went pretty well. Each year it gets better and better. So we had a good time this time. But I thought about believing, because during this Christmas season, we need to believe again. Because I realized, even with myself, that in some areas I was like, in the Bible where he was speaking to Jesus, I forgot who it was, but he was like, Lord, help my unbelief. And that's, in some places, that's where I was. It's like, God, help my unbelief, because I have believed for the smallest, minutest thing, and I have believed for great things. And somewhere in there, I just started losing like that fire and losing like that expectation of what I desired from God and what I wanted him to do in my life, and the different things that I would expect like years ago. I just it kind of fizzled out. And it wasn't because God changed. It was because Angela was going through different things and she began to change. So this year, as we're going into this Christmas season and it's like full-fledged in there right now, I just want to believe on the level where I believed before, and even beyond that, just believing that God will do what he said he was going to do, just believing that his will is going to be done, just believing that his word is true, and that what he has said, he's going to perform it. He is going to do it. His word will not return unto him void, but it is going to go out and it will accomplish everything that it was sent out to do. And I began to remember the word of the Lord that has been spoken over my life for years. Different things that God has poured into my spirit, different things that God has spoke to me about. And then somebody else come and tell me, and I never shared it. I never shared it with anybody, but they came and they would tell me certain things that I prayed about, or they would come and let me know something. And I was like, man, okay. And God was just moving in my life. And I want to just believe on that level again. If you ever heard of Smith Wigglesworth before, you know what I'm talking about when I say believe. If you don't know who he is, go Google him and find out. He was an amazing minister of the Lord, and he believed God on so many different levels. It's like he believed God and he trusted God, and God did the miraculous in him and through his ministry. And that's what I desire even for myself, is that God will begin to move through me like that once again. So many things I've thought about on the thing of believing, where I remember a Christmas service that I was in Germany at the time, but I remember that Christmas service, and we were just worshiping, we were glorifying God, we were magnifying God. We just had an awesome experience. It was like worship was just on a whole another level. And we just worshiped God that evening. And I remember them calling people up for prayer. I remember looking behind me and I saw two people that were standing behind me. And guys, don't think that I'm weird or that I'm crazy. But I saw two people that were standing behind me and I was like, oh, they're new to the body. They're new to this church. And I was like, oh, after service, I'm going to get with them. I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to make sure that they feel welcome, because I haven't seen them here before. And we went up for prayer and they were standing behind me. And I was like, oh, they getting in the service. They came up for prayer too. Oh, yes, I'm going to talk to these people. And I heard so clearly in my heart, in my being, I heard, these are my angels. And I was like, right. So, and I heard it again. These are my angels. And I was like, God, I said, really? And I was standing there just worshiping the Lord, and I kept trying to look out the corner of my eye to see if I saw anything, And we just worshiped the Lord. And then I looked at the corner of my eye and I saw them standing there, and I was like, oh, okay, they're still there. And I just began to worship the Lord. And then I turned around when prayer was finished and they were gone. And I was like, man, they left. I didn't get a chance to talk to them. But it was like this, I can't even explain it. It was like just this joy of this that was on me. And I was just worshiping the Lord. And then later, when service was over, I said, I know what? I know somebody else saw them, so I'm going to ask. So I started asking my friends that were with me at the time, did you see the two people that were standing behind me? They said, Angela, you were the last person that come up. There was nobody there. I was saying, No, 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 no. It was two people that were standing behind me, and they were worshiping God too. It was a man and a woman. They was worshiping the Lord too, and they was like, "No, you were the last one back there. There was nobody behind you." And I just began to weep. I began to cry. I began to worship God because I said, "God, I heard you." And I know some people may look at that and they be like, "Oh, you are too far short of a heaven meal." Be like people like your cornbread ain't done in the middle. But I am telling you, it was amazing to see what that God revealed that to me and allowed me to just see some different things and allowed me even to pray with some different people. And I remember praying with different people who were going through a lot at the time, and getting calls after I came back to the States, and I had gave them my number. I gave them a number where they could reach me if they ever needed to. And for some of those people to call me back and say, "Hey, I'm doing good now." I mean, one young lady, I was like, I don't know what to do. And I was praying. I was like, "God, what do I do? I want to help her so much." And he would show me just different things. And I sat with her like all day long. I wasn't working then. I was at home then. And I sat with this young lady. I prayed with her all day. We fasted and prayed for her. The whole church was, but she was going through so much where she just wanted to take her life and just leave here. And I sat with her. I sat with her. I didn't know I was a young Christian, but I sat with her and I said, "God, I know your word is true." And I prayed, and she would come. I would let her lay down in my room and let her get some rest because she wasn't sleeping. And she got some rest, and she would get up and she would have all kinds of things that was going on, and she got the help that she needed spiritually. She got the help that she needed physically. She got the help that she needed. But when she called me and she said, "I am doing so much better, and I am in a good church, and I am serving the Lord, and God is so good," and she began to just tell me all the different things that God was doing in her life, I was like, "Thank you, God. Thank you." Because I was just a new Christian, and I was trying to just be obedient. I was like, "God, I want to help as much as I can. And I know your word is true. I know if you speak it, it's gonna be done." So whatever he would speak to me, I would speak over her. I would pray the scriptures. I would sit and hold my Bible and pray over her. And it's not to say anything, like great and wonderful about me. It's just believing his word. I believed his word. I believed that his word was true. So when I spoke it over her, I believed that God was going to do what he said what he was going to do. And did it happen while I was there with her? No, it did not. It didn't. It happened after I left. Got back to the States. She kept my number. She called the number, and she let me know that she was okay. She let me know that everything was going great, that everything was going wonderful, that her relationship with God was just increased. And I was ecstatic about it. I was so excited that God moved in her life like that. And it's just so many different instances where God has spoken to my heart concerning different people through prayer while I'm praying, and I'm writing stuff down. And I was like, "God, are you sure?" I remember writing a young lady a letter. I sat down and I wrote her a letter because I had just finished praying for her, and God began to speak to me what was going on with her. I didn't know anything that was happening. And I was like, by faith, I'm writing this because I don't know what's going on in her life. And I wrote the letter. I sent out several letters that day to different people. And I started getting calls. I started getting letters back saying it had to be God that told you this because don't nobody know. And I was like, wow, God can use you like that? Yes, it can. You just got to believe. God can change situations and circumstances right now in your life if you just believe. This is the Christmas season, guys. It is time for us to believe, to have faith and believe, to believe that things are going to change, that to believe that Jesus came into this earth to bring about a change in our lives. He can literally change your life forever if you will allow him to. But you got to allow him to. And you got to believe. You got to believe him. Believe his word. Believe that it's true. Believe, and you will begin to see things change. There was a lady by the name of Ruth Heflin. And if you don't know her, look her up. Look up her story, Ruth Heflin. She is an amazing woman of God. She has gone on to be with the Lord. But during the time that she was here on this earth, she read a scripture that said, ask where the Lord was saying, ask of me and I will give the nations as your inheritance. She believed God and she asked him for the nations. She started naming out places. She said, God, give me this place, give me that place, and she was like, give me Italy, give me India, give me, and she began to name out all these different places. And God allowed her to go to all these different places and minister the word of the Lord. She ministered to so many people, and signs and wonders and miracles followed wherever she went. But she just believed the Lord. She was in places where, and it's documented in her book Harvest Glory, where she went to different places, and God will wake her up in the middle of the night and say, "You got to leave this place, and you got to leave now." And she was that obedient where she would get up, and the assistant that she had with her, she was like, "Oh, we got to get dressed, we got to get out of here, we got to go now." And there was a certain ruler in that area that they were scheduled to meet, that they wanted to meet, but she said, "I heard God clearly. He said, leave now." So they got their stuff together, they caught their bus, they got their other places so that they could get out of where they were. And she said, in the midst of getting on that last mode of transportation to get out of where they were at the time, she looked back and she saw the ruler, not the ruler that they were going to meet, but they saw somebody else who was opposing them being there, did not want them there. And he was on assignment to get them out of there. And it wasn't going to be just to get them and take them back where they came from. It was to kill them. And because she heard God, and because she took him at his word, and because she believed what he said, her life was saved, her assistant's life was saved, and they were able to move forward. We got to start believing. You need to believe that God does talk to you, that he does share with you the things that you need to do. You got to believe his word. You got to trust in the word of the Lord during this season. Now is a great time to just bring everything down as we're getting ready to approach a new year, and sit and just listen. Everybody tries to get, like that word for the new year. And it may be something that God has been speaking to you all year long, that he wants you to continue to walk in, that he wants you to continue to do, that he wants you to just live in. It could be the word tonight, in which is believe. Believe him at his word. Believe that he created you for a reason, for a purpose. You have a purpose in the earth. And he created you for this time and this season. And you shall not die, but you will live to declare the works of the Lord in the land of the living. I speak life to you. Believe again. Believe again. No, things may not have gone the way that you wanted them to go. Maybe some things just was all out of whack and you were like, man, you know what? I'm done. Don't be done with God. Keep pressing. Keep trusting. Keep believing. Even in the midst of chaos, even in the midst of things not going the way that you thought that they were going to go, God is still the same. Don't give up on God. Oh, the song, don't give up on God, because he won't give up on you. He's able. Don't give up on him, because he's not ever going to give up on you. He will never leave you, nor will he forsake you. But you got to believe. You got to believe. Believe again. Trust again. Trust again. Why? Are we not, or are we going to just, ride through life and everything just, roses with no thorns? No. The thorns are going to be there. The hurt is going to come. Different things are going to happen that we have no control over at all. But we still got to trust, and we still have to believe. It's like, Lord, I believe all things are possible. God, I believe you. I believe. That's what I want you to do during this Christmas season. I want you to have that joy. I want you to have that freedom. I want you to believe again. I want you to trust God on another level. I want you to move forward and know that he has your best interests at heart. He wants you to walk in great places and do great things. But you got to believe it yourself too. You have to believe it yourself. Another story about Ruth Heflin. Ruth went to a meeting that was in Rome. She did not plan to preach, because she was like, all these other preachers here, all these other preachers they can preach, And when they picked her up from the airport, they were taking her straight to the meeting, and they were like, hey, she had stopped briefly at a hotel, dropped her stuff off. Here she is on the way to the meeting. And on the way to the meeting, the pastor of that church had picked them up, and he says, you're going to minister tonight. And she said, I can't minister tonight. I left my Bible in my bag. She said, I was just coming to see my brother, and I'm headed right back out of town. And he said, no, God said that you were to minister tonight. So she was like, okay. And she was like, God, what am I going to minister to these people? What am I going to say to these people? I don't know. She gets up, she ministers to the people, and then she hears God say, just yield to me. And she said, God, just yield to you? And she said, I just ministered to these people. She's thinking, I need to lay hands on them. I need to pray for them. I need to do all these different things. And she said, I heard him clearly say, just yield to me. So she said, she lifted her hands, she began to worship, and she just yielded totally and completely to God. She said, next thing she knew, she was out. She was out and worshiping, like on the floor, down on the floor, worshiping God. And she said, when I came to myself, she was like, oh no. Why? What happened? So she was saying that she just kind of opened up her eyes and kind of looked around to try to see, what happened. Because she said, I shouldn't have been like worshiping and getting lost in worship. And I'm supposed to minister to all these people. I'm supposed to be praying for them. But when she opened her eyes, the whole church, everybody was laid out and worshiping the Lord. God came in and moved in that manner where she yielded to him. She began to worship, and she just lost in her worship, not even, knowing what was going on around her. And everybody in there just laid out in the power of God, worshiping him and glorifying and magnifying him. Sometimes things that we think that we should be doing is not what we should be doing. That's why our ear has got to be so tuned into what God is speaking, hearing what he has to say, and just doing what he's telling us to do. Because a lot of times we don't do that. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we hear it and we think it's off, you know. But one thing I do know is whatever God tells you to do is going to line up with His word. And that's why you got to know the word. Because if you know the word, then you know it's not outside of His word what He's ministering. You know it's not outside of His word what He's telling you to do. When you look in that word, you'll know, hey, this is what He's telling me to do. God wants to do the miraculous during this season. And He wants to do the miraculous in you, in your household, with your family. Some family members have not spoken to each other in years. Some of them planning to get together right now, and they're already arguing about everything before they even get into a house together. This year, take a breather. Listen for what God wants to speak to you, because miracles can happen between now and January 1st. Miracles can happen. Whatever that miracle is that you need from God, I'm asking you to believe again. Believe that He'll do it. Believe that His word is true. Believe that whatever He has spoken, His word is going to be performed because He said so. We serve a God that spoke and things came. Light came, trees came, animals came. The waters separated from the land. We must believe Him. We gotta believe Him. You gotta hope in Him. Yes, hope in the Lord. Trust in Him. There's one other story that I want to share with you all tonight that came straight from the Bible. And it's talking about Rhoda. And if you go and you read, just look up Rhoda, because I can't quote scripture and verse to you, but Rhoda in the Bible, she was a servant of the house where Paul stayed and other people had gathered. Paul had been put in prison. They were going to kill him. They planned to kill him. Intercessors got together at the house. They began to pray for him. The angel of the Lord goes into the jail and gets Paul out of the jail. He comes to the door of the house and he begins to knock on the door. And Rhoda goes to the door and she sees him, but the other people are still praying. She runs back to tell them, hey, Paul is at the door. And what do they say? That was like, that can't be him. Now you're praying for the miracle. The miracle is knocking at your door. And you're saying, that can't be it. Think about it. What miracle have you been praying for? What thing have you been going before the Lord for? And He is knocking, that miracle knocking at your door, saying, hello, I'm here. Are you going to open the door? Or are you going to say, oh, that can't be it? They were saying that must be his ghost. That must be something, a figment of our imagination, because Paul, there's no way he can be at this door. But that's what you're praying for. That's what you were seeking God for, and He answered. So how many things are we praying for and God has answered, and we still like, that can't be it. That can't be it. And He's been knocking at that door. He's been giving us exactly what we needed. He's been knocking at that door. Your miracle. Like, knock, knock, knock. And when you see it, embrace it. Embrace it. Don't try to talk yourself out of what God told you would do, and what He told you would be, where He told you would go, the different things that He wanted to do in your life. You need to make sure that you are believing Him and trusting Him no matter what it is. Some people may think it's like outlandish that that's too high. No. If God said it, it will come to pass. Believe Him again. Trust him again and know that he's with you. He's not going to leave you. During this Christmas season, believe. Believe again. Trust again. Know that what he has spoken over you, what he has spoken to you, what he's spoken inside of you, it shall be. Trust and believe. Trust and be obedient. Just believe again. That's what I have for you on tonight. I hope that this has encouraged you. I hope that it encourages you to build up that faith again and just believe. Only believe. All things are possible. Only believe. So tonight, guys, I thank you for listening. I thank you for being a part of my show, my whole and beautiful nation. Thank you for everybody that listens, because when those numbers came in, I'm telling you guys, it floored me to see how many people are actually listening. I so appreciate each and every one of you. And I pray that your weekend is amazing and that this weekend you will take time out to sit, to be quiet, to hear and to see those dreams again, and that you will believe to the fullest that it's going to take place. Until we meet again next week at 7 p.m., I am Angela D. Oliphant, allowing you to see, to hear, and to know that whole and beautiful is not just your destination. It is most definitely your journey. So come on, let's walk this journey together and let's believe again. Love you much. Good night, guys.